All right. Thank you for bearing with me. It took me a little bit to even figure out how to get this started. So this is going to be a rough go. But please bear with me. This is part of my experimentation in trying to focus by explaining what I'm doing to the void. And if people watch and find it interesting, then that's great. So I am building a samurai fighting game, PvP. It's based on the same control schema as Deathball. And the goal is to give it a really nice and juicy feel and make it feel like a fully complete fighting experience with just one button and one joystick. We're probably going to fail, but hopefully whatever we fail on ends up being fun. And that's all we're trying to do here. So, all right, I need to share this so I can share my entire screen here. We got the tunnel of doom here, but just get a new tab. Just get a new tab going here. Okay, so presumably everybody can see this, yeah? And I'm sure there's a way that I could get chat to like pop out of here. Let me just stop sharing while I do that. Pop out chat. Bam. Easy peasy. Okay. All right then. Now we're going to share the entire screen. Got to start somewhere. Okay. Let's look at this. This is something I've built so far. Well, actually, the best place to start maybe is a sprite, where I kind of designed this attack loop, I call it, and it consists of 3 actions: a draw, a slice, and a chop. And I'm calling all of them slashes, so they'll all have this base class of slash, if that helps. But you can see here's the draw, and you can see the smear is very important. There was the slash, and then it's going to come to the chop, and that's all we're building. Trying to get that to feel good. So I suppose even though I popped out the chat, I have to find a way to, yeah, well, hopefully someday. Okay. So this is what we have so far, and it's already kind of I think feeling really good. All it does is this like this draw motion. And he stands back up already, feeling pretty nice for doing just one session so far. But we want to get into the next thing is going to be the slice. Which is going to cause the lift. If we go back, let me try to get these organized so we're not going into the browser here. If we go back here, the slash goes into this rising motion, which falls into this, and then we go into the chop, which is the downward motion. And I call it spiking here. I drew the little tails there. I might try to render that with trails actually in pixel trails actually in the game, so they're completely random and we can get them tuned really well. It's better than me just trying to draw it over and over again, because I'm better at the math than I am at the drawing. But you can see it's just as soon as you press the go button, it goes into a slash. And some of the things I've already built is there's a little teleport that happens. So you can see, like, as soon as I press it, I'm already here. And that's because I wanted to feel like the slash was a motion through wherever you were going. And so you can, I think, what I'm about to start programming, if I ever can get to the point, is this moment where your body is actually going to disappear in the smear, which is that white. When I press the button, there's that white thing that happens. That's an animation that's called a smear, which is supposed to give you a sense of motion. I want that to be the only thing that appears from a couple frames, even maybe. And I think that what I want you to be able to do is flash for those frames where you don't take any damage. And that's a cool kind of like double, what we were talking about is I want to make a fullness of control inside of this one button, one joystick control scheme. And so a flash and an attack that feels really natural and really juicy, I feel like is a really good start. So I'm just going to check for comments. He's hopeful. He's hopeful. Yo, we got to 50. Cool. Indie Arcade Wave. Here, this is what needs to happen. There we go. Indie Arcade Wave. If you're watching this now or watching this in the future, go ahead and give them a subscribe. They produce some of the coolest content about like the crazy explosion of indie arcade devs. Like arcade only development, it seems to be rapidly exploding, and there's some really cool things being built for it. So go ahead and check them out. But yes, we got our first comment. That's pretty excellent. Let's get back to the story at hand. So I want to start building the Flash. That's where I'm at. I'll explain a little bit technically what's going on here. This is our editor. This is where we edit the game. It runs our code, but it also, this component is very important. It's where we build scenes. Scenes are ultimately the game as it runs. Inside the scene are the objects. I have a camera that's what creates the view for the game. I have Zeb. I guess that's the player. I was showing my son this the other day, and I named it after him, and he really enjoyed that. It's got a couple game objects in here that we are not using right now. This square is the background, the gray background, and this square is just this little green square down here. And so that's everything. That's it. On each object are things, and on this Zeb, I have a few important things. I have a driver script, a jumper script, a wizard costume script. What does that mean? We'll get to that. Sprite render, rigid body 2D, capsule collider 2D, and an animator. Okay, the driver is the script that I wrote that gives it the left and right motion based on the back and forth use of the joystick, and it's based on the Death Ball controller, which has a very specific way that it builds several stages of accelerating and decelerating, which I have a true belief that the juice is in the third decimal. It's like always at that like really interesting level. So make every acceleration, even if it one frame and it doesn't matter at all, sometime, somewhere it's going to matter that it accelerates instead of just becoming something. So do the lerps, all that stuff. And so this has several different things about it: a drive, a neutral, a brake, a limiter, a speed max, a speed threshold, terminal velocity, and then the rest of them you can kind of ignore. They're less important. The ground layer is like how it tells that it's grounded. All of these combine, and they're all very broad numbers here. These are the numbers I've come up specifically for this game so far. All of them combine to give the feel to this character. These are not actually technically the numbers. The wizard costume holds the real numbers, but that's another story. What I want to focus on is the jumper. And that's where I've kind of built in all of this flash and the generation of this little smear, which let's just pause and zoom in for a second. This smear, which is a prefab. These prefabs are really cool things where it's just this object that I can generate anytime I want, and I can double click into it and I can edit this object alone. This is the smear, that little white thing that you see. I drew it in A-Sprite as a frame, and I pulled it out and put it into this object that gets created when the player draws. And it's got a rigid body. It's got a polygon collider. You can see it here, and a sprite renderer, which is just doing this one sprite. And I generate this whenever you press that button. So it gets generated. you can actually watch it here. It'll appear here as we play. You can see it pop in and pop out because it has a very short lifetime. But the important thing that I'm trying to get to with these smears is that the smear will appear for a frame. It will be the entire hurt box. It will be very well defined. In fact, if you saw the draw, there's areas to duck under it or around it if you so come in at certain angles, something that will probably never matter, but is something you build for high-level players to explore. So, but yeah, we want to have really, that's why you want to be really well defined on your hitboxes. It's like pixel art. You can get polygon colliders are pretty efficient. Deathball's wizard is like a secret of itself, the way its polygon collider is set up to interact with the ball. So, all right. So let's get into it. Finally, the thing that I'm trying to do is build this flash I'm talking about, where the character is invulnerable, and I think I want him to disappear from the animation to really hone in on that smear. So we're going to try that. I don't know. Here's what you're going to find out. I really don't know what's good or what's bad. I'm really out here discovering the fun. So I'm going to do a quick check for comments. Still got one comment. They didn't take it away. All right. So this is the code. Like I said, we are interested in the jumper script. This is the code that is going to execute when the jumper runs. I run a relatively complicated system around I enumerators that try to generate different states of a class like this. But I think they actually read really straightforward. So hopefully they're easy to understand here. Like for this is the draw state. This is when as soon as we enter the draw, there's going to be times when we yield. We say we don't need to do anything this frame, but the way this is written is like it'll just read down the bottom what draw is going to do until it exits and returns to whatever called it. So, and that brings us to stand until. So stand until is the state that we started. It's called stand until for unimportant reasons. It, for the all intents and purposes, could be called stand. Let's call it stand. All it's going to do is it's going to test if we're grounded. If we're not grounded, we're falling. This is if you go off a platform. You were grounded, you're not grounded now, you're in the falling state. Falling state takes over. That's down here, right there. If the player jump happens, then we're going to go to the jump state. That's going to be how we control. We're going to yield control over to that until it returns. If we have a horizontal input that is different than our last horizontal input, this is where the draw comes in. So it's going to compile our scripts. Hopefully, we didn't cause any errors here. It's going to take forever. I guess I wonder if it's going to chug a little bit more since we are streaming. We'll see. Things to learn. Yeah, that is what is that here? Oh, yeah, that's an error that occurs if I wrote my own version of. I'm going to teach you a lot of lessons about never writing your own version, but I'm going to probably end up doing it. I wrote my own version of a singleton, and I think it doesn't work with the editor, so bear with me. Input controller, player horizontal, axis. Yeah, okay. That should be fine. Okay, so when I press this will, in this case, my last horizontal will be at 0. As soon as I press a direction, my last horizontal will be horizontal being the horizontal input of the joystick, which is probably not obvious, will be either a 1 or a -1 if it's different than 0. That's because we kind of clamp it into those numbers. And the -1 will mean we're going to the left, and the 1 will mean we're going to the right. And so that's how this whole function will continue to do whatever it's going to do, which is generate the draw, generate the draw smear in front of it, and do the flash, which is to move our position immediately forward and to set ourselves to an acceleration that really gives us a pop feeling like we popped through it. And I'll show you that right now. That's inside the draw state. This is where I think the coding starts to get fun, and especially when you have all the right levers and you take it to the, I'm in the driver. That's why I cannot find the draw. There it is. All right, so this is a breath. This is what I am going to end up yielding on whenever I need to yield to wait for more stuff to occur. Like nothing's happening. I'm just going to yield. You'll see that everywhere. I do this because I don't like to instantiate things inside of a loop, especially when we can just instantiate them once. But everything I do is like I'm self-taught inside of C# and Unity, so everything I do could be dumb. Just like that's a warning. I don't know the traditional ways of doing it, and I hope like if I'm not doing it in a traditional way and somebody sees it, point it out, because I think that will be a good learning opportunity. So inside the draw, we're going to instantiate the draw object. We're going to assign it to this variable draw. Realizing the repetitiveness of that is getting really confusing, especially because it means something else in rendering terms. We're going to get the transform position and we're going to set it to our position. This dot transform. I'm trying to stop using this. I don't like to use it. I guess it's implied, but transform.position equals draw.transform.position. Okay, so that's all. Transform.position is always this script's position. So this script is on the player, so it's the player's position. The draw is a new object we instantiated. And you're like, well, what did we instantiate? This draw object right here, which is the really cool thing about game development that I kind of like, is this draw object I've set to be this public reference on our class, our jumper class. This is the class that defines what the script does. And I can set a public reference to it that allows me in the editor to point it to anything else in the editor, including the prefab that I was showing you. So if I go to Zeb here, and if I go to Zeb here, you'll see in the jumper, under the draw object, you'll see draw, which is this. And draw, like, it's telling me something. Well, let's pause this. There we go. I see. I was in the game. Okay. Draw has its own script, which is slash, which is just has a slash term, which determines how long it exists on the screen. 0.03 seconds. And that determines like how like, it's almost like you want it to be subtle but obvious. That's the line we're trying to get to. So I don't know. It feels right. I'm still struggling with which color to make the background and make the art really pop, but at some point I might just pay somebody to make art for me, because I do not know if I'm like capable of developing all the art for this game. But that draw object is replaceable. I can go to Zeb. I could delete it. I could replace it with something entirely different. So we're not going to do that. We're going to focus on the flash, and that's in the code right next to draw object. The instantiation of the draw object. We set the draw object to where we are. We flip it based on the horizontal, right? -1 or 1, left or right. We get the slash off of it. That's the actual script that has the slash term. And what I'm trying to do is I'm going to flash the character, take it out of existence, for as long as the slash is still running, and I'll just breathe with it. So it's gonna, if you go to slash, it's gonna have its own IEnumerator state slice that it's going to be doing its own breathing, and it's going to just be increasing its slash timer. And we're just going to breathe with it and wait until the slash timer is less than the slash timer is greater than the slash term. Then we are going to come back into existence. That code is not in here. That's going to go right here and right after this, right? So how do we take the character out of existence? Where did it go? Ooh. Something odd happened there. Okay, so this is the character, and I don't really necessarily want to take it out of existence. I don't want to remove its transform. Maybe we do. I doubt it, but specifically what I want to do is I want to make it so that it doesn't render, and I want to make it so that it doesn't collide. So you can shut those off, and the character still can even have a position. Oh, actually, because I shut the collider off, it's falling through the floor. So yeah, that's a way that I have to be able to shut it off so that it doesn't take collisions from hurt boxes, and keep it on so that it touches the floor. And there's a trick to that, but we're not going to mess with that right now. We will just not worry about, for now, just for the sake of getting through this and getting to the slice, we are going to just make the render shut off. And I really don't, this is like one thing I kind of settled on in Deathball that I'm not entirely happy with, but one thing I like to do is I like to do this method of grabbing maybe all of the certain things, and this is going to be sprite render 2D. I don't have autocomplete for C#, so I might have to like look up some of this stuff. I also turned off the AI because it gets really annoying when I have tried to do this. And another thing is I like constantly I'm going to forget that I don't need it, semicolons, which I don't even need there. So what we're doing is we want this to be renders. And we want this to be, we can use the rename functionality to say renderers. So that didn't work. That's okay. Okay, I am really blowing this, but whoa. Okay, so the reason I do this is because at some point we may want to wrap the character, and there may be all these things that we want to grab renders through the entire tree and shut them off. And this function will do that, and it won't call get component in children needlessly. It will call it once when it needs it. And this only works if you have like static renders. You're not adding and removing renders. Otherwise, you just, the point is at some point, if you want to do that, you can just return this straight up and take all this guarding out, and everything will just continue working. It'll just be slightly less efficient. Again, might be stupid. I don't care. All right, we're going to get rid of this. We don't need that code. Okay, so back to the draw. Renders. And like, this is like Well, what if you don't want to shut off some of the renders? This is you retain the functionality to do that right here. I really don't know if it's enabled or not. And this has got to be for each. See, like, I really need to get the autocomplete working. I'm not sure why it's not. I thought I had that fixed. Let's check for comments. Oh, hey, check that out. Seeing behind the scenes here. Oh, hey. Hi, Alex. Pasha, how's it going? Coding, a bold move. It's very humbling. Quite humbling, I will say. But thanks for watching. Yeah, we appreciate it. So, truthfully, like, this is really just helps me focus. Even though I go off on tangents talking about things, it's a good way to process my thoughts on it as I work on it. Working alone, there's nobody to like bounce ideas off of. So this is a helpful tool, I feel. So yeah, sorry, we want to make them enabled false. And then after that, sorry, we want to do that. Okay, let's get back on track here. So for each of our renders, we want to set it enabled to false before we slash. And then we're going to slash for the slash term. And then we want to set it back to true. And you might say like, well, shouldn't you do it before? Well, here's where we move our body. So yeah, we're actually doing it before we move our body. It doesn't matter as long as they happen in the same breath. This is actually interesting because we will flash out of existence. Our collider will still exist exactly where it was. And then at a moment in the future, we will pop into that next spot, which is less invulnerability and more like a little invisibility flash thing, but still kind of cool. Let's see if we got it to work and if it does look cool. Experimentation. I bet it's a semicolon. Oh, namespace, sprite render 2D. Okay, yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, without the I guess I don't need the 2D probably, right? Let's see. Without the autocomplete, yeah, it's just sprite render, of course. I'm thinking of like rigid body 2D and stuff like that, but sprite render is implicitly 2D for obvious reasons. Hope maybe. If it's not obvious, I guess sprites are what we call these flat drawings. And then we can do a lot of tricks to create depth to them. Even in this drawing, the different colors of the legs kind of creates a little bit of depth. The subtle blues on the white create like a different texture to the robe, hopefully. So yeah, but even in programmatically, we can kind of generate even more depth, which is kind of cool. Parallax and stuff like that. And that's why this is called a sprite, which is what I use to build stuff. This is an entirely different experiment that I will not get sidetracked by right now. But it's cute sometimes. This is my kitty cat. Okay, back to this. Any comments for the kitty cat? I gotta check. This is a new game, Zcaters. It's gonna be it's a fighting game, trying to get the feel of Samurai Jack or that kind of like what's that game that's the Samurai 2D platformer game? Just like a really juicy slash movement feel. I'm packing it as tightly as I can into a joystick and a button. That's what we're working on. Yes, kitty cat. Okay, back to the making stuff happen. So, does that fix our problem? It seems to. Let's see if the character actually. By the way, like I'm by no means fast at coding. So if like seems okay, I can't really tell. But when you can't tell, like the nice thing is you have all these buttons and knobs, and you can make everything just take longer, and then you'll see. So like that timing was all based off of the slash timing, right? So that was inside of our prefab draw. Inside of the slash, we had a slash term. What if we just made it 2 seconds and we just made that slash last for 2 seconds? See, we're gone and the slash is there and then we'll come back. So like this is why you want to build these like little things in. They help you. So we are gone. And maybe actually that doesn't feel like terrible. It's not like it's definitely, but it's like there's something there. So I think what we had was too short. I didn't feel it at all. I think let's just try something bold. 5. Let's see if that feels good. Got to cross the line to know where it is, right? That's too much. That's too much. Let's roll it down to like, I want to say like 3/8. That's what I'm feeling. It's getting there. I do like that you're gone for a second, and that will be appealing as a back and forth move to like flash out of existence. I think that's going to feel really good, even though it kind of looks a little clunky, probably. We might be able to clean that up, but like, let's see here. Ooh, okay. 2 is starting to feel really good. And it kind of like limits how much I can do it because I can't do it while I'm out of existence for some reason. Well, I mean, because I'm already in the draw. That's right. That's the nice thing about building states this way. I can't get back into the draw state if I'm in the draw state because I'm not in the stand state. So that feels kind of okay, but let's keep going. We got to go until it doesn't feel okay. That's not what I meant. I think that's the one. I'm going to go 0, 5. Or is it just, it feels like every time it's getting better. That feels really good now too. See, this is why you got to keep going. And let's kind of push out a little bit. I feel like we're going to get right back to what it was at. And it's feeling a lot more spammy now, but I'll tell you this, like I'm okay with it. I like spammy stuff. That's why I built Deathball. Deathball's a totally spammy game. I built a button mashing game because there's just one button. So like, yeah, that's too fast. Okay, so that was too fast. I still think 4/2 is too fast, especially because 5 was feeling really good. This is probably hard for you guys to tell because you're not. I mean, I can hit the button louder so you can hear it. I need like a mechanical keyboard so you can hear it and try to. Because game feel is something that is so. Game feel is the right description because or another way that I've heard it described is called digital sensation, because what I'm experiencing right now you're seeing but you're not feeling. The reaction time between when I hit the button and a flash of white happens on screen, and my brain detects that pattern and understands that pattern and gets to like in like gets a little juice from that pattern. That's game feel. So that's like one of my, we're getting some comments now. Okay. All right. Pause for comments. Play Deathball at my friend's Jim's place. Varcade and oh yeah, the Varcade cab is also the one that goes with Psychic Drive to certain events, especially the Summer Games Done Quick tournament where we had 56 people signed up for a Deathball tournament. It was wild. It was like just a great time. Everybody there was amazing. Good stuff. Normally Unity handles physics stuff in Draw. I've been working with Godot that has a separate per frame function for non-draw processing. I built my skiing game in Godot because of the whole Unity thing. And I was like, I got to get back to open source. I kind of am back with Unity for this one reason, is because I can't learn Godot. I have this process I like with Unity that I kind of developed with Deathball that I want to stick with. And I want to support the open source community someday, but I gotta charge forward as fast as possible because we got a runway to lift off in. You have a name yet for the new Samurai game? I like the swish effect. Like the swish effect, that's the name? Or are you just saying you like the swish effect? Because both are kind of cool. Jim is a great guy, does great stuff. Yeah, this is what I'll tell you the one thing, my favorite thing about the arcade industry. I don't think anybody's in this to be insanely rich. There are so many people that are in this industry because they love arcade, and you get to interact with them every day. So it's my favorite part of doing this stuff. Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is this all started from I'm getting distracted, but this is kind of cool to talk about. This one, I kind of want to do this study in the smear effect, and I built this thing. See if it even is working right. Yeah, so it's just this guy drawing and slashing, right? And I got really funky with it, and I also I did him doing it on a sunset. I gotta make his complex shadow because of the sunset. But yeah, so and that's where this all kind of kicked off from. That smear effect really, I was like, what if in a fighting game that was the hitbox? Can we get there some way? And so this is all a culmination of that moment. So so thank you. You guys, I really appreciate everybody who's here. I did not expect people to be watching along this intently. I'm really grateful that you guys are here following the journey. That's pretty cool. So that's done. We did it. We did the flash. I think we're good. We can tune it a little bit more. What did we have it at? 0.5. What do I want? Let's here's the thing I want to do now. Push it. Which way do I want it to go a little bit? Do I want it to feel poppier, or do I want it to feel less poppier? I think less poppier. And the reason is because it gives it a little bit of weight. So let's just add another digit on there. Just makes it a little, maybe just, let's crank it up just a little bit. It is, yeah, I guess it needs to be a little higher because it needs to be, it can't feel like it's an infinite tap. It needs to feel like it's a timing. So if I'm going to do it where it's not infinitely spammable, it needs to have a nicer timing. So let's take it to 654, 65. Okay, we're going to just leave it at that. That feels pretty good. Okay, and I'm using the left and right button, which I don't think I'm going to give myself. Well, first of all, joystick does not have that capability of being able to go left and right that fast, but I also kind of think I want that move to be on the button press. So I might actually build a state where when you start moving the joystick to one direction, he just starts in a walk with his katana sheathed. And until you press the button, he doesn't draw it out. And that's kind of where I was talking about the attack cycle. I want you to have these different modes that you move through and you get back to essentially sheathed walking samurai guy. All right. So the next thing is we got to do the slice. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that eventually we're going to try to enter the state of the slice. We're just going to build that. It's should I go a step farther and just move this breath entirely out? I feel like Jumper wants to always yield on the fixed update, so it might be even, I could like, this could be almost a static variable, but let's continue. The instantiation thing, by the way, comes from like a nightmare of trying to go through memory leak problems with Deathball and trying to get it to run on a small amount of memory. Not a small amount of memory, but like if it's got to run all day. So if it's got a memory leak, it only is going to compile. And we'll probably get to this if you follow this series at all, or if I keep doing it. But I go for what's called zero instantiation, which is whenever I'm done messing around and I got all these objects and stuff, I'm going to put them in a pool, and I'm never going to instantiate the entire existence of the entire run of the game. When you need something, there'll be a pool where it already is. If you are going to need a lot of them, the pool will have like be 40 deep. And if you ever try to grab one and they're all in use already, that's when it'll instantiate a new one. And then it'll just keep it around in case you ever need it again. So I guess it's not zero instantiation. But that's like kind of my thing that I ended up with on Deathball. All right. So here's the thing. Here it is, the slice. I've called it the strike. What did I call it in A-Sprite? I called it the spike. I've called that third part so many things, but we're not going to focus on that. We're focused on the slice. I'm going to turn this on. It's just got a sprite render and nothing else. Here's what I'm going to do. The slice is the attack that I do from the running position. So I will take the Zeb character, and it's got a sprite render on it. The sprite render doesn't matter because of the animator, and the animator is what makes it go through its different cycles when it's running. Like it has 4 frames it goes through when it's running, and then the standing frame, and that animator is what essentially replaces the active sprite that's being rendered with the sprite that I tell it to based on a relatively complicated state machine of like how you get from state to state of animation. So, but that is not what we're going to dive into now. So let me just get out of that. The slice here, it has a sprite render. Oh, my character, it has a renderer. We have our sprites here. At some point when we jump, we are going to be in the running. When we do the slice, we're going to be in this running animation. So I'm going to drag this into the sprite renderer. That didn't work. Sprite 0. Okay, let's try that one more time. For some reason, that's not working. So I'm not sure why. Oh, we're in play. Okay. Right. Sorry. Okay. We're in the scene here. Let's go to the scene. And what we're going to do, so from the scene now, the reason that immediately disappeared is because the animator is still running. And so it's still replacing every frame. So we're going to put this guy in. So this is the step you're in right before you're going to jump. And we have, this is our slice sprite. So let's go to the sprite. Instead of this square that it is, and we're going to show it, instead of the square that it is, we'll zoom out, you see it's just a giant square. We want to make it this like thing that I drew in A-Sprite. And that's not in the right place. Right. So let's put it in the right place. We can just kind of move it, and we'll find out where it looks right. And I built this so it should kind of match with where the sword is. And the idea is like oh, sorry, I got to flip it on the X. Yep, there we go. So there we go. There, something like that, right? So the sword is going to come over and up, and that's going to then you're going to be in this jump. You're going to be in this. So like that's the idea. Is it goes from this to this. So this is that slash, and this. So there is like an implied frame here from this point at where the sword is to the acceleration leaping up. Or no, that's supposed to be here. Oh, I see. This is supposed to be the motion. So let's see. Is that lined up? I see. I've got it wrong. This is supposed to be the motion. So something like probably right under the blade, right? And then from there, and we'll do this with a flash too, and an acceleration, because I'm really liking that feeling. And here's what I'll do. I'm just going to duplicate this, and I'm going to set its sprite render to be this guy, and then we will put it up here. Oh, and it's kind of, I want you on, but I just want to see where we're going to kind of, oops, what did I clearly, I'm not having on the right thing here. And right there-ish is where we're trying to get to, and that looks right. So we'll flash here and give ourselves this like kind of acceleration, or we'll mess around with it. Maybe we can get this feeling without even doing the flash. So all right, so I'll probably keep going for another 13 minutes, and then I will take a break. And at that point, if anybody's around, I'll answer any questions about anything you have. But I'm going to try to get through 13 more minutes, the goal of which to do the same thing we did with draw with this, and kind of create this effect. So that's what I want. I know that's what I want. The slice is in the right position. It's much like I want to look at the draw prefab, because I'm not sure if it's in here. So I'm just trying to remember exactly how we position it. We position it on ourselves. That's right. And the way that we position that was, we put it, I think it's because we offset something here. Oh no. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. We made the we kind of made the origin of this sprite here, and that's kind of the trick that I used before. So that's kind of what I'm gonna do here. I think to kind of give it the right feel is find that particular sprite. I'm sure some of this is like, this is this thing right here, this where you can't let me blow it up for you. This thing right here, this really long thing, is a sprite sheet. It's many of these like sprites in one long thing. That's what a sprite generally exports. And you go into a sprite editor to actually edit it. Here you can actually see this is the whole actual picture. This is what it looks like. And I go in and I cut out all these things, and we can add origins to these things. So like this, the origin of this is bottom here. And the origin of this is bottom here. So they would start about at the same spot if middle, and I think maybe that's relatively right about where we want it. Let's see. We can look here. It's slightly higher than that, it looks like. So we're gonna have to, we'll offset it. That's the thing. We can always move it once it's in there. So let's just get it in the frame. So slice is this. We're gonna add a slash component to it. What did we end up with the other one? I might as well just start there. That was a pretty good, it's in the prefabs. It's a pretty good timing. So we'll grab that, go back, go to this slice here. And then what I'll do is I'll just drag it, drop it in here. It becomes a prefab. I don't need it in here anymore. It's just kind of on there to be a starting point, I guess, and be able to be lined up a little bit and kind of to experiment with. So when we do, now we're going to have to create our slice, and it's going to be the same thing. We're going to instantiate it, and we're going to position it. Okay. And I guess like the reality here is like I can mess with the positioning here if I want to offset the positioning. So local scale, I want to match the horizontal as well, and that's got to be passed in, I'm pretty sure. Yep, because when we slice, we don't want to have to like go and query the joystick. We just want to know which way do we slice, just like when we draw. And the state that spawns us will give us that information. Okay. So this is slice object, which doesn't exist. It probably might yell at us. We're going to set the slice transform. We're going to set the slice local scale. We're going to draw the slash out of the slice. Probably, I guess we want to flash again, which makes me think that we can actually make a flash state. This is like how I like to write this stuff, is in a way that it's you can kind of states can kind of compose together like this. So flash character here, all of this we can take completely out of here, and we can just put in here. And if we're going to flash always for a like we can say like we're going to flash with the slash. This is the weirdest line I've ever read. Flash slash slash. We are going to flash for the duration of a slash. So we just give it that, right? And now here we go. Yield, return, flash, slash. And the thing about this is like yield return, we'll just say draw state is done. It's going to stay here until this completes. So now this gets to take control, and it gets to run as long as it wants, and it's going to return to here. And this is going to then close, and it's going to return to whatever it has. And I kind of like to think that I create these actions through like little bubbles. Like bubble, 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 collapse, collapse, collapse. And it makes really easy to reason about code, I think. But I certain there's going to be somebody who watches this probably loses their mind to the way that I am doing this. Okay. Is anybody out there? Can I get a wave if anybody's still watching? How do I check that? Yeah. Hey, Willie J. Willie J. Speaking of the earlier, I was talking about the Summer Games Done Quick tournament. Willie J was the organizer for that, and like he organized the biggest death ball tournament ever officially. So I really appreciate that. That was like just such a treat. So glad you're here, Willie. Hopefully someday we're running this new samurai game. Also, like if you have ideas for a name, throw them in the comments. I want to hear it. I don't know. We got 6 minutes. I don't know when everybody's joined, but we're making a samurai fighting game. It's a platform. It's really supposed to be a really juicy feel slashing fighting game that goes through this attack loop here. Let me start it over. We're working on that move, that slice that lifts us up. So let's go back here. We made our flash state. That's part of our slash state. And now we have the slice state. This is getting a little confusing. But we were able, we have a slice object. We pulled that out of there. We're able to get a slash. Then we're just to yield, return, flash. And we'll pass that the slash. And we'll get back to us when we appear back in existence. But everything's going to still happen. Like whatever's affecting us is still going to affect us. Specifically, the slice is going to be presumably launched from the jump, because the jump already does exist. Probably, let's see if I can still get this to compile. If not, probably not going to be able to demonstrate that. Semicolons are the bane of my existence. So I just need there's got to be an autosave that does that. Sometimes I feel like if I just spent 5 seconds fixing that, it would save me so much time. But it's probably this other line I wrote. Okay, so that should compile, I guess. And namespace I enumerator cannot be. I've spelled I enumerator wrong, I guess. This one. I enumerator. Whoa. Is that right? Okay, so that's probably it, maybe. Of course not. Breath does not exist. Slice out. Oh yes, right. We got ahead of ourselves. Okay, so let's just grab this because that's going to be the same thing inside of this. And I don't actually think are we using breath anymore in this? Nope. Okay, so we don't need it there. We also don't need it here anymore because presumably the same thing. And yeah, we need to add the slice object, just the same spot that we have the draw object. And that's where we'll add the prefab that we just created that has a slash script on it that will make it appear for an instance. And here's the thing. I'm going to press play. This is not going to work. It never works, but it's going to function-ish. And when it functions-ish, we can get it to function all the way. So sometimes you just got to, here's my sometimes just got to compile it and see. Probably first of all, I don't even think it's not hooked up to anything, so it won't even appear. But let's make sure it won't break anything. So, okay, everything still seems to be there. There is a jump. See, I have a jump, but it doesn't have the slash that starts it. So let's get that going. And to do that, first things first, I need to go to my character's jumper, and it has a slice object. I need to go to the prefabs. And I need to grab the slice and drop it in the prefab. So now it will generate this when I call the slice state, but I don't call the slice state ever. So what I actually want to look into is the jump state, because the jump state is where I actually want to start the slice. So where are we doing that at? Jump here, yeah, here it is. So here's jump, but where's that called at? Okay, yeah, so when player jumps, we are actually going to want to, instead of jumping, we're going to want to slice. And I don't know if this is going to feel right. I don't know if the diagonal is going to be right, but we can just apply the same thing, I guess. What do we say? Your transform position plus. That was just a horizontal magnitude thing. I guess I have to, the goal of it is to get it from, remember when we had this object in here, which I guess I can just drop on the scene. This object, we have it in here, and we need to, I guess it's almost directly vertical. So I wonder if I just give myself a Y teleportation here and then jumped. Let's just see how that feels. That's probably pretty close, and we'll hone in from there. This is the same thing, but in the X direction. So we'll just steal that. We want to go we don't care about horizontal. We don't care about flash magnitude. This is going to be 0. We're adding, so these are vectors. They're complex, but we're out of time, so I don't want to dump too much into this because I think we can get to something a little bit playable here. I don't need the horizontal either. I just need slice magnitude. I guess I called it, actually no, we have a flash magnitude. Well, no, let's call it slice magnitude because I want to hone it in itself. Body velocity. I'm not going to, because we are going to just right after this, we are going to jump. In fact, I'm going to execute, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to yield, return, jump. And save. And compiler errors. So I bet there's somebody's going to be watching and they're staring at the screen yelling semicolon. I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. Yo, what's up? You got a check mark. That's cool. I don't know what that means, but that's pretty cool. The name slice magnitude does not exist in the current context, and that is accurate because we did not create it. So we got flash magnitude, flash speed. I guess I'm going to call this slice magnitude. What's a magnitude? A magnitude is some kind of like float. It is directionless. So like I'm going to apply it in a direction. So we call it a magnitude. Vectors are the things that have directions and magnitudes. And that's just that's the abstract way of thinking about them. So for the time being, if you haven't encountered vectors before, just think of them as a way to apply both a magnitude and a direction to anything. Like the position. The position from the origin has a direction from the origin and a distance, like 5 this way, like that's all they are. And so this one, we have a transform position, which is a vector, and we're going to add to it, which means we're going to move it from wherever it is this much, slice magnitude, in a single frame. And that's going to make it flash, because usually we're moving things smallly over many frames using velocity, but when we jump them, then they're going to feel like they pop across. So that's it. And then we're going to yield, return, jump, and I'm just going to try to run that because sometimes you just got to let it compile. I'm sure there's bugs there. There's no given argument that corresponds to horizontal jump slice. Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, I think realistically we do need it so that we can, yep, okay. So where are we calling slice here? Right here, and we're just going to have to move this up here, and then we can provide that. And that was not what I intended to do. Okay. Come on. 303. Did we get somewhere? Anywhere? Holy moly. Okay. Whoa. Hey, okay. So it would appear that there is now a tremendous amount of force to the side. It is like kind of cool. I think like I might go into the sprite and like when I see it on the screen, that like it's the start of it, the little tail thingy is a little too thick. I want it to swipe a little bit more. So like, but we'll get there. I mean, this is approximation until perfection. All right. The nice thing about having the levers is we can use them. So let's get out of the maximize screen here. Let's get this out of the way. Let's go look at Zeb and see if there's some way we could fix that slice magnitude, which is, one apparently maybe is pretty big, but there's got to be something else happening here, because that's, am I doing it over many frames? Start slice. Let's just see. I wonder if there's a bug where I'm just applying it many times over really quickly. I'm gonna get rid of jump for a second. I'm just gonna see what happens. I'll say like so much of coding, as you're probably witnessing, is debugging and testing. So maybe I'm just like really error prone at it, but that's most of what my coding is. So, okay. Now nothing's happening. Somehow, oh yeah, okay, we got to stop it and start it. Okay. So there shouldn't be a jump. I guess I should just kind of, whoa, okay, so clearly, yeah. And I have gravity, so that's why I come back down without really much effort. Gravity is part of the physics system that's always being applied, but I guess for some reason one is really going up a lot, and so I want to see slice magnitude, vector 3, transform position. One just shouldn't, I feel like it shouldn't have that effect. Let's see. I think there's probably a situation in which I'm exiting this slice. Okay, this is. So I think there's a real possibility that I'm exiting this slice state and going back into it immediately over and over again really fast until some limit is reached. Or until I let go. I'm not sure. So I'm going to test that. Off and on. Yeah, so that happened 10 times. Yeah, 5 times, 8 more times. Yep. So, okay. So that is the cause. And, oh, I guess I think maybe what I'm missing is we do have to start the coroutine. We have to like wrap our IEnumerator in this potentially. Right? But I'm not doing that here, and I think that's working. Anyway, well, I guess this is something we'll have to solve another day. Yeah, maybe I haven't tested my draw even, so, or, yeah, okay. That's off and on again. So I haven't tested my draw at all, so it might just be broken as well. Yeah. Yeah, it's applying over and over again. Okay, well, you know what? There's always a solution to that. Let's just make it like really, really tiny, and then it doesn't really matter. And then we'll just see how it feels. That's still apparently too high. It almost feels like it's worse. But okay, well, that is. We got the flash down. This jump thing, I just not sure why we're cycling on this. Oh, it's probably because what are we using to enter that state? I think maybe this is an entry problem. Slice horizontal, and if input instance player jump. I think we want this. I think there's like a player jump down in the input controller, and that's what we actually want. Yeah, okay. I think that's actually probably the bug. And I think that never affected the jump because the jump takes some time. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what this yields. Yep, off and on. Who's getting nervous about the battery? Anybody? Hey, okay. That's working. Quickly, back to the code. Go back to slice. Give us the jump afterwards. So I want to also, like, maybe this is not necessary, and I really don't want to add this, so I don't need to, but I think I only need to do that when I start the first state. As soon as I'm in an I enumerator, I think I can just continue to. So we'll see. Okay, and then I just want to here, I want to go yield, return, jump. All right, let's see. We got all kinds of things we can experiment with here. I got to go off and on. Okay, we're coming on 3:15. Thank you guys for bearing with me. If there are people still out there. All right, so wow, that took some time. Okay, there's something there. We got it. We got something there. It only like is, I guess that slash only really works if you're going forward, because there's a natural. I mean, here let me drag a slash in there real quick into the scene so you guys can look at it. But there's a natural forward, I think, motion to it. It feels better when you're moving forward. Where is everything? Oh no, I need a prefab. This. We're just got. I think because I'm playing, it just got like because yeah. Obviously, it terminates after a very short time. So if you drop it in the scene, it's going to go away. But it feels okay. It actually that feels really nice and explosive. Honestly, I feel like my scale is a little tough because I'm already across the entire screen on one jump, and that's probably not right. But like that slash, that feels good. I think there's something there. The jump straight up. I mean, the neutral position jump could be something entirely different, but it doesn't feel terrible. That actually feels okay too. Am I flashing too much? That could fix maybe our height problem. Let's try to rein it in. Slice magnitude, start at 52. That's still. I want to go even less. Flash is still too much. Let's just go like really small. Do I even need that? Maybe I don't even need that like flash, because the like jump gives me that sensation already. It's already pretty springy, so I guess I don't need it. Yeah, I mean, the jump's already pretty explosive, and so I kind of feel like I just explode out of that. All right, well, that's all I'm going to program right now. We are through the draw, the slice, and now I just need to get the next thing is getting into the falling state. You can see there's no animation for the falling state, but I think that's going to feel really good to slam down. So, all right. Well, now I'm going to go over here to the comments. Take a second. Does anybody? Hey, Tim, how's it going? Welcome for joining. I'm just going to open up. I'll just expand this. I'm just going to open up. Does anybody have any questions? I definitely have like some time to answer some questions. Otherwise, I've really enjoyed this. Thanks for anybody who joined at all and commented. And I think we got to do like another moment for the kitty though. One more moment for the kitty. This is for Nifty Villages, which is a game where I built this like avatar system where you can take a head and a body, and you can essentially use any combo for anything. So like if this cat doesn't have a hat, but we could give it like a tiara, or we could give it a mohawk, or we could give it a bowler, or we give it a halo. That's the one I like. But also, where are the horns at? I also like the horns. Evil kitty. Witch kitty? Wizard kitty? And they, of course, like they match the walk cycle and everything. It's a system of pixels positions where like this is the face and it moves in a certain way of the walkway, so the hats know to move with it. The body has a certain size it can be and certain animation it goes through. So that's just a totally separate project that I'm working on. If anybody's interested in. See, there's a way that I can put this back onto this side over here. Timeline. Yeah, but how do I put it on the side? Oh, I don't know. I don't remember how to do that. But yeah, this is nifty. This is the avatars of nifty villages. So there's another cat head, snake head. Here's like I have one of my favorite bodies is I call him a greaser. He's got like a total like a. I want to make a greaser head that is like a straight up John Travolta, but I haven't been able to get that built. But then yeah, it's got like a little walk cycle. All of them have this. All the limbs, if they're like humanoids, have the same walk cycle to them. Mafioso. Let's give him a head. Let's give him a head. That's me. Let's give him a king wizard. Oh, we can do the mafioso. He's in the scrunch of the walk position, so it looks a little weird, but it's a mafioso. Oh, I do have a greaser head. What is the greaser head? Oh, that's sorry, my bodies. Okay. There's like this thing where you can't scroll when it's animating, which is really annoying, which is why I wanted to put it on the side. Anyway. Well, that'll be it. That's the first live, y'all. Thank you for joining. And get this window up here and cancel my stream. Thanks everybody for joining. This was really helpful. I really was able to stay focused and process a lot of my thinking about what I'm trying to build in. Even if nobody showed up, I still found this really helpful, so I will probably do it again. See y'all.